Okay, students, now we are into the very next colligative property, depression in freezing point. Okay, after studying the two colligative properties, elevation in boiling point and before that relative lowering of vapor pressure. Those two topics are already covered. Then coming to the today's topic, depression freezing point. As I told you in the very beginning lecture of the colligative properties, all the three colligative properties are interrelated. What are the three colligative properties interrelated? They are, first one is relative lowering of vapor pressure, second one is elevation in boiling point, and third one we are going to study is depression freezing point. So, and there only I told you it will take more time for relative lowering of vapor pressure, somewhat less time for the elevation in boiling point, and almost less, very less time for the depression freezing point. Okay. So depression freezing point, it happens along with the lowering of vapor pressure, along with the elevation in boiling point. Both, all the three happens together. When it will happen? When a non-volatile solute, when a non-volatile solute dissolved in volatile solvent, dissolved in volatile solvent, its vapor pressure decreases. What happens? Its vapor pressure decreases. So such vapor pressure, if it is decreasing, obviously it will be easy for us to convert that liquid into solid. Hence it is becoming easy. Hence vapor freezing point also decreases. Such decrease in freezing point is called as a depression in freezing point, and it is denoted by delta TF. What it is denoted by? Delta TF. Okay, so I will explain through the diagram. Now today I am not going to draw all the three diagrams. Okay, so you should understand that it is also colligative property. Okay, now let us take the two different containers. It one contain only solvent, another contain solution. Solution is made by dissolving non-volatile solute dissolved in volatile solvent. The solution is made by dissolving what? Non-volatile solute dissolved in. So this line diagram will show that it is a non-volatile solute. Okay. Now here all molecules can evaporate. So vapor pressure will be more and few molecules can evaporate. Vapor pressure will be less. Okay. Now here task, when you compare the task of converting gas to liquid and liquid to solid. Here task is more or not, but here number of particles in gaseous state are very less. So it is easy to convert them into liquid, then it will be further easy to convert them into solid. That means it is easy, work is reduced, work is depressed. That's why this is called as a depression in freezing point. Okay, so in the elevation in boiling point we have studied that elevation delta TB. What is delta TB? Delta TB is equal to, first what we will write, boiling point of solution we will write. Okay, minus boiling point of what we will write, solvent we will write. Okay, because solution boiling point is more than the solvent, but in the delta TF, what we will do is we will write the freezing point of solvent first, because solution freezing point is reduced. Okay, freezing point of solvent minus freezing point of solution. Okay, so that is the difference between both of them. But the common thing, what is the common thing? It is also directly proportional to number of solute particle. Hence formula remains same. Formula will remain same. Delta TF is directly proportional to molality. Why molality? Why not molarity? That also already I have explained in my previous lecture. So if not done, if you don't remember, then go through and revise it, because it is a very important concept. Okay. So I suggest all of you to go through that lecture. Understood? If you are not remembering, if you are remembering, then it is very good. Okay. And I think everybody is noting down these all points. Maintaining notes is more important, and staying awake, staying interested till last is also very important. Okay. So directly proportional, then delta TF is equal to there is a new constant Kf into molality. Okay, so I think everybody remember that m is equal to number of moles upon mass of solvent. This is the molality definition. The molality is number of moles of solute per kg of solvent. Okay, this should be in what? In kg. This should be in kg. And here in the moles, we write it in the grams only. For moles, mass upon molecular mass. Okay. So mass of solvent will be in kg. Is it understood, students? Now, in the molality, if you substitute in place of the number of moles also, what we can write? Mass upon molecular mass of solute we can write. Okay. So I'm writing it complete detailed formula I will write. Here delta TF is equal to TF of solvent minus freezing point of solvent minus freezing point of solution is equal to Kf into, here it will be mass upon molecular mass. Mass upon molecular mass of solute divided by mass of solvent. Okay, but what you should make sure, mass of solvent should be in kilograms. Okay, how to convert into kilogram? We in the numerical session already we have discussed. Just divide it by the 1000 if they are in if they are in grams. Okay, so up to here, is it understood? This is the detailed formula. Is it understood? So in this place, we can also write this one. Depending on the question, you have to select which formula. If moles are given, you use this formula. If mass is given, molecular mass is asking mostly, that type only the questions will be there. Okay. So diagrammatic explanation, definition explanation, and formula. Formula, one more thing I left. What is that? Kf. Okay. So Kb, do you remember? Okay. Good. Kb is ebullioscopic constant. Likewise, Kf. Kf is called as a cryoscopic constant. What is constant? Cryoscopic constant. Cryoscopic constant is also called as molal depression. Molal depression constant. Okay, and Kf. Okay, depression and freezing point, cryoscopic constant or molar depression constant. Formula is same. Okay, there it was boiling point, now it is freezing point. Molar mass of solvent same, 1000 same. This is enthalpy of vaporization, it was there. Now enthalpy of fusion. Okay, small little modifications according to the formula. Okay, what is cryoscopy? Cryoscopy is method of determining. Cryoscopy is method of determining molecular mass of unknown solute based upon depression and freezing point. Okay, so this is all about the depression in freezing point. Understood? Now let's see. Okay, now we are into the final colligative property. Okay, that is osmotic pressure. It is completely different from the all other colligative properties. Okay, so try to pay attention, more theory based topic, more conceptual topic. So try to understand it carefully. Okay, so let us take a big container. Okay, and it is divided into two identical parts. How many identical parts? Two identical parts by SPM. What it is? SPM. SPM stands for semi permeable membrane. Okay, so they are divided into two identical parts by the semi-permeable membrane. Okay, semi-permeable membrane. Now there is two types of solutions. Okay, let us take it solution common C1 and solution with concentration C2. Okay, now there is this semi-permeable. Why it is called semi-permeable? Because it will allow only semi. What is that semi? Solvent particle is allowed to pass through like this, pass through like this. Okay, so solvent can move through these pores and solute cannot move through these pores. Okay, solute cannot move through these pores, solvent can move through these pores. Okay, so that's why semi, only half is permitted, half is not permitted. That is called as a semi-permeable membrane. Why it is? Because solvent particles are small as compared to the solute particle. Let us take, this is the pore size. Okay, so solvent will be like this, so it can easily pass through it. Okay, but solute will be like this, it cannot pass through this. Okay, so there is no logic, there is no magic behind it, simple logic of the size. Okay, the size of the pores are such that they can allow small solvent, they will not allow big solute particles. Is it understood? That's why they are called as a semi-permeable membrane. Okay. Now, in semi-permeable membrane, what they will be doing, they are concentrated C1 and C2, they are separated. Okay. Let us take C1 is greater than C2. Now, through this solution, from which direction to which direction flow will be there. Okay. When I ask most of the student, think in your mind. Okay. From which left to right or right to left? Thought? Now check it. Okay. Answer is from this direction to this direction. Okay. All of you might have thought that C1 to C2 because it is just like a mind game. That's why I told you this is a conceptually good topic, mind game topic. Understood? So every point you have to be very careful. C1 greater than C2. So that means higher will to lower. Always your mind is made like that only. Higher concentration to lower concentration, high temperature to low temperature, and high pressure to low pressure, high altitude to low altitude, like that. But here it is opposite. We cannot say opposite. Here also same. But higher solvent to lower solvent. Why it is? Because here more concentration. That means solute to 1 and here solute to 2. So solute 1 is greater than solute 2. Is it understood? Solute 1 is greater than solute 2. Okay. Now let us take in the other way. We will take in terms of the solvent. Solvent 1 and solvent 2. So which is more here? Less concentration means solvent 2 is more. Okay. So once solvent 2 is more, we cannot do anything with the solute because solutes are not permitted to move here and there. They're restricted by the semi-permeable membrane. So we should think in the point of the solvent. We should think in the point from the solvent. Okay. So in the solvent, where it is more, this side solvent is more, this side solvent will be less. So the flow of solvent will be from low concentration to high concentration. From a low concentrated solution, if I eliminate, if I decrease the solvent, then concentration will good. Solvent concentration will increase. Okay. When you remove solvent from any solution, its concentration will be generally increasing. Here also it increases. So when this solvent is added here, its concentration will decrease and its concentration will increase. So nobody need to tell it. It will on its own, it will keep on moving from here to here. Till what time? Till the time their both concentration is same. Okay, let us take this was concentration 3, this was concentration 1. Okay, so from 3 it will keep on decreases and reaches to 2, and it will from 1 it will keep on increases and reaches to 2. Okay, sorry. Higher concentration, its concentration is 3 and its concentration is 1. Okay, so when I remove the solvent, then its concentration will increase from 1 to 2, and when you add solvent to it, its concentration decreases and reaches to 2. Both will reach to 2 only. Till that time, nobody need not to tell. They are all, this solution is like sincere like you. Nobody need to tell you to study. You will keep on studying till the time you are stable in your life, you get a stable career. Is it understood? Like that, this solution in solvent also move till the time it is stable. When it reaches to a level, that level you set in your life, till reaching up to that level, you will, what you will do, you will keep on working, keep moving, keep working. Like that, solvent also do same. Till the time it reaches to same level, it will keep on moving. So that any work done by on its own in only one direction is called as a spontaneous. What it is called as? Spontaneous. Why I am all telling you, it is all the term which are used in the examination in the definition of osmotic pressure. Okay, so osmosis, it is a process. This flow is called as what? Osmosis. Okay, so this is all called as whatever I told you the story. It appeared to be story, but it is not a story. It is going to make you a successful story. Understood? So osmosis is spontaneous flow. Spontaneous means which occurs on its own in one direction. Osmosis is spontaneous flow of what? Solvent from where? Low concentration to high concentration is called as a osmosis. Is called as what? Osmosis. Is it understood definition? So osmosis is spontaneous flow of solvent from low concentration to high concentration. Is it understood, students? Now, how to measure it? Osmosis is only flow, the tendency to flow. Okay. Now, if you wanted to measure it, that the unit of measurement of osmosis is osmotic pressure. Okay. So, osmotic pressure is a measurement of flow of solvent from high concentration, from low concentration to high concentration. And it is denoted by what? Pi. Denoted by pi. Okay, and how it is measured, then what we will do, I am eliminating this and I will make some beautiful arrangement. Okay, so here I am applying some external pressure. What I am applying? Some external pressure. So it wanted to come here and I am applying pressure. So when I apply pressure here, when this liquid comes here, there will be some contradiction between them or not. So it will not freely come as like early. So the flow will slowly decrease. Initially, suppose 100 molecules are coming at a time. Slowly, what happens? Only 50 molecule, then 10 molecule, then it will stop. As soon as the flow stopped, I will also stop. Okay, and after stopping there, then I will put a pressure gauge over here. What I will do, I will put a pressure gauge over here. I will measure the pressure. Okay, so this pressure, external pressure applied, is equal to the pressure applied here. Then only this is stopped. Okay, so that external pressure need to stop the osmosis is called as osmotic pressure. What is osmotic pressure? Is it understood? So the amount of extra force, additional force, external pressure need to be applied on high concentrated solution to stop osmosis is called as osmotic pressure. Okay. Now, some people are very crazy, what they will do, they will ask, sir, what happens if I still apply? Okay, so that type of idea came, and that is a one of the good news. It gave one good news also. Okay, so after stopping also, if I still apply pressure, then the liquid will flow from here to here. Okay, now you will say that, sir, you told only this from here to here. This is spontaneous, this is non-spontaneous, external force we are applying. Okay, even that time also only solvent will flow, not solute. Okay, so the flow of solvent from high concentration to low concentration, this flow is called as reverse osmosis. What it is called as? Reverse osmosis, called as RO. So RO, water purifier, they are based upon this only. Okay, so sometimes crazy ideas will make your life also crazy. Because of this crazy idea only, today we are having a pure water. Okay, actually impure water is a concentrated solution, pure water is a diluted solution or only solvent. So when I apply pressure, electrical force, then impure water, only solvent is pure water, so water will go and collected here. So from here we will tap out the pure water. Understood? So purifying water. Impure water is a concentrated solution. Pure water is a dilute solution, or it is only solvent. So when you apply the external pressure beyond the osmotic pressure, then this is called as, the process occurs is called as a reverse osmosis. Okay. So osmosis and reverse osmosis both are just opposite process. Both are just what? Opposite process. Okay. Now the higher the concentration, to measure the osmotic pressure, what we will do, normally we will take only solvent here. Okay, and solution over here. So higher the difference, higher will be flow. Okay, so that means osmotic pressure directly proportional to concentration. Okay, and higher the temperature, higher will be the speed. Okay, so what we can say, pi is directly proportional to C into T. So pi is equal to C into S into T. What is S here? Constant. S is a universal solution constant, not gas constant. It is a universal solution constant, but value is same. Everything is copy pasted from the gaseous state, but name is differently given. Whatever the value you put over there, 0.0821, you will also put over here only. Okay, even you will be surprised to see that this definition itself is a copy paste. This mathematical formula also copy paste. Okay, how it is I will tell you. PV is equal to nRT. So P is equal to N by V into RT. So P is changed as pi, number of moles upon volume is concentration, R is changed as S, and T. So this is the derivation of osmotic pressure formula from the ideal gas equation. Actually, they are all, both are fluids. Fluids are the things which can flow. Is it understood? So this is all about the osmotic pressure, theoretical and mathematical formula. Is it understood, students? So there are certain terms used over here. Okay. First one is isotonic. What is the first one? Isotonic. Second one is hypertonic. Second one is what? Hypertonic. Third one is called as hypotonic. Okay. Isotonic, hypertonic, and hypotonic. Okay. Isotonic means, let us take A and B. If two solutions have same osmotic pressure, if two solutions have same osmotic pressure, then they are said to be isotonic. Two solutions having same osmotic pressure are said to be isotonic. Suppose pi A is greater than pi B, then A is hypertonic, B is hypotonic. Hyper means more. So the solution with higher pressure, osmotic pressure, is called as hypertonic. The solution with lower osmotic pressure is called as hypotonic. Okay. So these are the terms used over here. Is it understood? Then coming to the next topic, exoosmosis and endoosmosis. Okay. Exoosmosis means the osmosis outside, exit. Okay. Osmosis causing outside. Osmosis causing outside flow is called as exoosmosis. Okay. Suppose if we take a blood cell, okay, and wall of the blood cell also will act as a SPM. The wall of the blood cell will also act as what? Semi-permeable membrane. What it will act as? Semi-permeable membrane. From that, if the solvent is coming out, then it is called as a exoosmosis, and exoosmosis causes shrinking. What it will causes? Shrinking. Okay. So if the same, suppose this is a blood cell. Okay. This is a blood cell. Now if solvent comes out from outside to inside the cell, then it is called as a endoosmosis. If the flow of the liquid is inside, then it is called as a endoosmosis. It will cause the swelling. What it will cause? It will cause the swelling. Okay. Endoosmosis causes shrinking. Endoosmosis causes swelling. Okay. How the questions will be there based upon this. Okay. Now there are more conceptual questions from this chapter, from these two topics, more conceptual questions. Okay. What are the conceptual questions that I am going to tell you? Listen carefully. Why intravenous injections are mixed with sodium chloride? Okay. So actually our blood is also a solution. Okay. When before injecting into our blood cells, the blood osmotic pressure must be equal to the solution injected into our nerves. So to make both or same osmotic pressure, to make them isotonic, there are certain times they are mixed with the solute. Okay, they are mixed with solute. Is it understood? Second one, let us take two eggs. Okay, let us take what? Two eggs. Or in some books they give it as a fruit. Fruit outside layer also SPM, egg also. There will be brittle surface and it is covered with SPM. Polythene like thing will be there, that is called as a SPM. Okay. So when you, instead of boiling it, before boiling it, if you dip into the acid solution, then what happens? This outside brittle surface will break. What will break? This outside brittle surface, white surface will break. This white surface will break, leaving behind the SPM. Okay, that polythene like thing will be left over when it is dilute, placed in the acetic acid, placed in the dilute HCl, then only SPM will be left over with the pulp inside it. With what? With the pulp inside it, it is going to be left over. Okay, so same is the case over here also. Same is the case over here also. Same is the case over here also. Okay. Now, first one is placed in distilled water. Another is placed in, what is this? Distilled water. Okay, distilled water. And another is brine solution. Okay, brine solution. So both of them are now, as of now, both are same size. After some time, if you see, if you observe their size, this egg will swell out. What it will do? It will swell. Okay. Now you can tell me, you can identify what process, endoosmosis or exoosmosis. See, water only solvent. Then solvent, more solvent will go inside, and because of which this swelling will take place. What will take place? Swelling will take place. Okay. So this is which type of osmosis? Exoosmosis or endoosmosis? It is endoosmosis. Okay. Now, when the same egg size which is placed in the brine solution, after a certain time, you will find shrinking. What you will find? It will be shrinking. You will find shrinking. Okay. You will find it shrinking. Is it understood? Why? Because outside solution is concentrated, low inside solution is less concentrated. That solution will come out, so it will start shrinking. After certain time, this is going to be like this. After certain time, it is going to be like this. Okay, this egg will swell, this egg will shrink. Okay, so this is an example of exoosmosis and endoosmosis. Okay, all concepts clear now? So this lecture we had more conceptual basis. Understood? So making notes and writing the important points will be comfortable. There are numericals also. In the next lecture, we will be trying to cover the numericals of both osmotic pressure and depression freezing point. Okay, and there is one more conceptual question, two more conceptual questions on the basis of depression freezing point. Okay, what is the conceptual question? Why salt sprinkled over the roads to clear ice in cold countries? Okay, see in this question anywhere you will find the chapter name. Okay, so that is the conceptual question. We will not be able to even identify the chapter name. Okay, that's why you have to be very careful with conceptual question. Understood? So actually what happens in the road, in the cold countries, there will be ice formation will be there. Okay, what will be there? There will be ice formation is there. So instead of digging it and removing it, as a smart person, nowadays what they are doing, they also know the science, application of science. What they are doing, they are spraying the salt over it. Okay. Now earlier it was only solvent. Water is a solvent. Okay. Now to the volatile solvent, what we are adding? Non-volatile solute we are adding. Okay. So when you add non-volatile solute to the volatile solvent, freezing point decreases. Okay. So without this, its freezing point is 0 degrees Celsius. Okay. Now let us take outside atmospheric pressure, temperature is -2. Okay. Now when I sprinkle the salt, its freezing point reduces. So that much amount of salt is sprinkled that after formation of solution, its freezing point is reduced to -3. Okay. Now this solution freezing point is -3. Outside temperature is -2. So at -2, this will exist as what? Liquid. So that liquid will automatically cleared off the roads. Okay. Is it understood? So conceptual application of the depression in freezing point. Why salt sprinkled over the roads to clear the ice in cold countries? Is it understood? Then one more application also there. Okay. Why alcohol or glycol or something like alcohol will be added? Okay. Added to. Added to what? Ethylene glycol. What they will say? Ethylene glycol. Okay, ethylene glycol added to water used in radiators. Used in radiators of vehicles in cold countries. In cold countries during winter. Okay, during winter. Is it understood? So radiator means the thing which carries the heat from the engine to the different parts outside. Okay. So in that normally we will put water to cooling. For cooling of the engine, we will put water into the radiator. But in cold countries and that too in winter, along with water, some amount of ethylene glycol also added. Why it is done? Okay. So for that again, that is application of the elevate depression freezing point only. Okay. Ethylene glycol is a non-volatile solute and water is a volatile solvent. So when ethylene glycol is added to water, then what it will do, it will reduce the freezing point and avoids the formation of ice in the radiator. Because suppose this is a radiator pipe. Okay. Now I think everybody is aware that water volume increases when it forms ice. Okay. Suppose 18 gram. Okay. 18 gram will be 18 ml in liquid state, but 19 ml or more than 19 ml in solid state. Okay. So density of the ice is less than the density of liquid water. I think you have studied in chemical bonding also. What is the reason? Due to intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Okay. So this was 18 ml. Now it will be 19 ml. So this will produce cracks in the radiator pipe. So to avoid the damage of radiator pipe due to swelling in the ice formation is avoided by adding ethylene glycol. Okay, so that's all for the day. Conceptual things of the both topic. What are the both topics? Depression, freezing point, and osmotic pressure covered. In the next lecture, we will be doing some numericals and some more topic if possible. See you. Bye bye.